I'm actually excited to talk about the song that I got at number 8 on my fantasy playlist, December 20th, 1981. Now, this George Benson record, Turn Your Love Around, I thought it was sort of a nondescript R&B record. Of course, I appreciate it a little bit more now. It's got a solid beat to it, and I'll discuss the beat in just a minute. But George Benson was a safe R&B artist for pop stations to play back in the late 70s, early 80s. I mean, the pop stations, they were reluctant to play Rick James, except for maybe Super Freak, and even Give It To Me Baby by Rick James. It was problematic for a lot of pop stations. And there was Midnight Star. They wouldn't play anything by Midnight Star. Forget about the rap, the rap scene, the emerging rap scene. Doug E. Fresh and Grandmaster Flash. They wouldn't play that. But George Benson was safe, just white bread. Sort of, well, maybe that's a bad word to use. White bread. Well, it's more white bread than, say, Grandmaster Flash or Midnight Star or Cameo or even Prince at the time. And this is when Prince was coming out with songs like Controversy, which was like, oh no, we can't play this. We're not playing this on my station. No way. I'm going to piss a lot of people off if we play this song, particularly the older folks. But now the social stuff aside, the history of this record is just fascinating. George Benson, Turn Your Love Around at number 8. It was written by three fellows. L.A. sessionaire Bill Champlin, he wrote this record along with Jay Graydon and Steve Lukather. Steve Lukather co-wrote this record, or at least got the songwriting credits for this record. Member of Toto. Another fellow from Toto played on this record, but I'll get into that in just a minute. It was actually the song. Jay Graydon was the lightning rod behind this record. And here's the thing about Jay Graydon: he needed to come up with a song because this song was part of George Benson's greatest hits collection. It was just a filler to his compilation album, and the song was needed to fill out that compilation album. It had to be done fast. Jay Graydon had 4 days, 4 more days to come up with a song for George Benson's greatest hits album, and George Benson was coming to town really soon, and Jay Graydon could not come up with anything, but it happens all the time. The light switch always comes on when you least expect it. Jay Graydon was in the bathroom. He was sitting on the toilet, taking care of some business, when the melody and the chorus to Turn Your Love Around came to him right there. He jumped right off the can and put the melody and the chorus on a cassette recorder so he wouldn't forget it. And that's the genesis of Turn Your Love Around Now. Another guy who had a lot to do with this record from Toto, Jeff Porcaro. Jeff Porcaro played on Katy Lied by Steely Dan, one of the most prolific session drummers. He's played on hundreds of albums. Jeff Porcaro. On this record, Jeff Porcaro programmed a drum machine. It was called the Lin LM1 drum machine. It's not a real drum that you hear on this record. Let me repeat it in case you're at a party and you don't know what to talk about, and you want to impress somebody. You say, well, you remember that song by George Benson, Turn Your Love Around? And somebody say, yeah, I do remember that. Well, a real drum was not played on that record. Oh, really? You're kidding? No. Jeff Porcaro, the guy who's with Toto, he programmed a drum machine called the Lin LM1. Lin LM1 drum machine. Dang, dude, you're smart. Yeah, I know. So there it is in a nutshell. George Benson's Turn Your Love Around at number 8 on my fantasy playlist.